The views expressed on the Convo Lounge do not reflect the views of our current employers or our future employers.
All right, welcome to the Convo Lounge with your hosts, Amir Anthony, Charles Rochelle, and Antonio Crow. And today we're going to have a conversation in regard to everything that's going on right now. Here we go again.
Damn. Do Black Lives really matter, y'all?
You know, we had this conversation when we first debuted, and here we are once again. But before we get started, I just want to, we can do a round robin. I just want to say that, our brother Chadwick Boseman, the great actor, young, gone too soon, left us to a battle of cancer that he kept hidden from the public for obvious reasons. But he meant a lot to our community, to young children, gave them hope. And, I wanted to represent today wearing the Dodgers because he played Jackie Robinson, the great Jackie Robinson. And on August 28th actually happened to be Jackie Robinson Day, which was also the same day that we lost a great hero, great legend. And he meant a lot to our community. And I just want to say that we're praying for his family during this time.
Amen. Yeah, definitely praying for his family during this time. It's tragic. He's definitely a hero for our generation. I feel like we lost another one of our peers, and I feel like his legacy will be, it will precede him, really and truly. I feel like he was a hero for our younger Black boys. I think about my nephew who was a Black Panther for Halloween. I think about how he wanted to have Black Panther themed birthday parties, and I feel like we finally got a hero as a younger generation. And even though we can say he was gone too soon, I think it's another thing to say, he really lived out his purpose. And I think that that's what we have to remember. It's not the amount of years that you have on this earth, it's what you do with them. And I just applaud him and salute him for really fulfilling his purpose on this side of the earth, or this side of life. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all.
Yeah, for me, when I found out the news last night in our group text, and I was just really shocked. Like, life is not promised. There's no guarantees. But I just like to say that he really made good use of his time. He's very talented young man. I really enjoyed his role in Black Panther. And what's shocking for me is that I was watching a Kevin Hart on Netflix, Kevin Hart show, and he was considering Chadwick for the Harlem Nights reboot. So I think that even as an actor, like, he had a lot of poise, a lot of charisma.
For sure.
Very talented. And so, like, I'm looking at his IMDb right now, and actor, he's got 35 credits. He's done so much. And
he's super humble. Like, he just had a very sweet spirit about him. And I think that's what hurt most. It's like, we lost and every loss hurts, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I feel like we lost a good spirit, and that's why it hurts. We lost a good soul.
Most definitely. Rest in power, King. Rest in power. So we open it up with that, but back to what Antonio posed, do Black Lives really matter? We open it up with here we go again. And, Jacob Blake and what took place in Kenosha last weekend. Here we go again.
Can we walk through what happened, or just a little bit of what happened with Mr. Blake?
Sure.
Yeah, because I didn't watch the video. I'll just say my disclaimer as a co-host. I'm not watching any more videos. It's traumatizing. I know what's happening in America right now. I know about racial injustice. I know it's not going to be a quick fix. I know it's not going to go away. I know that between the time that we record this episode and release it to the public, there might be another Black man who's being wrongfully shot and killed by the police. So I just personally, I can't go there. So for listeners who are like me, who aren't, you know, probably know what happened with Jacob, but yeah, definitely run us through it again.
I'm right there with you, to be honest. I mean, I saw enough, and I mean that sincerely, where I've seen enough in terms of it happening too much in our community. But it is traumatizing. I mean, we have work outside of what we do. You know, this Convo Lounge is a platform for our community and for those that want to have conversations with those in the Black community. So for me, I think that being that we're in an election year and we're coming off the heels of two conventions for two parties that have different views on our community and also communities of those that come from low poverty and low socioeconomic backgrounds, I think I want to pivot this conversation. Jacob Blake is with us still. Unfortunately, the circumstances are not the one that has, been identical to George Floyd and all the others that have perished, but he is still with us. Unfortunately, we know what has been the aftermath of that, but he can still say that he's here. He's here with us living, and we're just praying for his family, and especially his three boys, because that's a lot that they're gonna have to navigate from. But I think for me, I want to pivot the conversation and what's going on in sports and how they're using their platform, and they took a break, all major league sports, baseball, football, with their practicing because they're getting ready for the upcoming season. And then the WNBA, and the players in the NBA got together and said one of the main things they wanted to do was use their arenas that are currently not being utilized at this time during the COVID because they're playing in a bubble in Orlando, Florida. They got together and said, we want to use our arenas, and there's 30 teams in the NBA. They want to use those arenas for polling places, and these arenas hold thousands and thousands of people. So I'm glad that they're using their platform. They took a few days off to really come together, and I'm just glad that they're using their platform and not taking a full-on break because they have the funds, the money, and they have the resources to get things going. So I just want to know what you guys' thoughts. Because me personally, I just can't keep talking about Jacob Blake. I talked about it all day, working this, yesterday and also this whole week. So I kind of just wanted to pivot the conversation.
I respect that. And I think that we have to be sensitive of what we can emotionally take, like our emotional capacity. It gets draining. As a Black woman, I'm exhausted. I'm emotionally and spiritually and mentally exhausted. I think about when we just did a production meeting yesterday, and the energy that I had yesterday talking about today's show, I don't have right now. You know what I mean? Like my mood, my spirit, everything that's going on in society, towards Black people, I'm exhausted and I am tired. So friend, I support you not wanting to go that route and to pivot. I am grateful that sports, they're taking a stand for social justice. I applaud it. I feel like everybody should be using their platform, whatever it is, to take a stand or to resist in some way, be it playing basketball, be it baking cookies. Shout out to Char's Cookie Jar. Go to charscookiejar.com, order cookies because Black Lives Matter. Whatever you have to do, use your platform to take a stand. I think gone are the days where you say, I'm not political. We don't have the luxury as Black people these days not to have the discussion in some way, form, or fashion.
Right.
Or not to resist or protest in some form or fashion. We just don't.
No, I agree.
Yeah, a buddy of mine posted, in the words of Charles Barkley, being a Black man is exhausting. And, it is exhausting sometimes. When you see like what happens in our society, when you see the way long term we have either tried to make amends with police or the community or politics. It just seems like it's always a challenge. And I really like going back to Jacob Blake, really, and not really going through the video, but you would think by now that the police forces and all of the policing administrations, you would probably think that they would come to the public and say, "Hey, this is what we're doing to build bridges with the community." But we don't really see that. You know, we don't really
Right.
see any forthcoming. Here we are. Like, I mean, okay, I take that back. During the George Floyd, there were certain police officers standing with the protesters. So yeah, so I'm not saying that nothing is happening, but
Right.
in an effort to create an ongoing effort or ongoing presence of showing a community-based relationship, like building this community-based relationship between the people and the enforcement, I think is crucial, because like we said a couple shows ago, that many people in the community don't have faith in our police department
Right.
around the world, and in most cases we're not going to call them first. We're more comfortable calling a family member about something that's happening in our home or to us over than calling the police. And like I think there needs to be a shift, and I'm not saying that it's not happening, because it has to happen city to city, right? We can't just speak to the whole police force around the world, but city to city, someone has to take a stand. Some police department has to take a stance to build a greater relationship with the community, and also the way they strategize with their stops, with their seizures, the way they arrest people. Like, and I know like their main goal is to make it home every day, right? But at the same time, in the community, it's our goal to make it home too. So, you know, I just think there's a great responsibility on both sides, you know?
Yeah. So, and that's, so to all of my All Lives Matters folks, we all want to stay alive. So
Right.
if all lives matter, then why aren't we all staying alive? Why aren't all lives being valued? You know what I mean? And just to piggyback off of your point, the thing that's the most alarming with police officers is they're still acting as if they're not wearing body cameras, or if they're not being recorded. Like they have no regard for the fact that the video footage is going to be seen. Like, it's almost like, hey, I know I'm not going to lose my job. I know nothing's going to happen to me. So I'm still going to act reckless towards Black people.
And so like yesterday I saw, well, I don't want to say this, but you know, sometimes you will see a police officer interact with someone under the influence or has like a special need, and you can see the compassion that comes from police officers. I don't know if you saw that viral video where that young lady was singing, "You gonna lose your job? You about to lose your job." Like, that was hilarious, right? She probably, you know, just a live wire, or maybe she was intoxicated. We never know. But, you know, certain police do show compassion. They are humble to certain degrees, but it's like, it's in our neighborhoods. It's our hood. It's our brothers that are always having to be held to a higher standard. You know what I'm saying? And we don't, you know, we are in a struggle in life right now. Like 2020, we got COVID-19, we got George Floyd, now we got Jacob Blake, we got the other cat that was in Atlanta at the Wendy's not too long ago. I don't know his name, but rest in peace. And so like, it's always been tension. Like, you know, even in the 80s, in the 90s, in 2000s, it's always been some level of tension. And how do we walk away? Our takeaway, how do we reduce this tension in our communities? Black, white, it doesn't matter. Police officer, community. This is really what is important moving forward, I feel. Releasing the tension.
Yeah.
I agree.
And the brother in that was Rashard Brooks, that also had, I believe, his daughter, or it was his daughter's birthday the following day. So the thing is that it is happening to Black men who are our fathers. And I saw something really interesting before we go on to another segment, but it was a sign that a young boy was posting. There was two things that caught my attention on social media. First was a young boy was holding a sign that said, you make fun of us for not having any fathers, but then you kill them. That's deep. You feel me? And I'm grateful that I have my father still. And it's had a tremendous effect on who I am as a man and navigating through society. And then the other post that was disturbing was the post of what happened with Jacob Blake. And it had 7 bullet holes in his shirt with 2 cops following him. And then the young white man, 17-year-old, that had an assault rifle the following day or two after Jacob Blake was shot is walking past police officers with an assault rifle, claiming to be some sort of vigilante.
Whoa, yo, like that.
That's disturbing.
Right. Bro. And then immediately when I saw that picture, it immediately made me want to say, in reference, is it open carry in Wisconsin? And him being 17, and yes, due to research, yes, unless you're otherwise prohibited, you are, able to carry in Wisconsin, right? But I mean, the way he carried as if he was a professional, you know what I'm saying? The picture shows everything. He's walking with his finger off the trigger, which is impressive, but at the same time, he's killing people. And
bragging about it.
And I don't really know where his head is at and where the community is at, right? I don't know how they are in Wisconsin, you know what I'm saying, as far as race relations and whatnot. But literally from a visual aspect of that picture, I was like, yo, is this where we're at right now? You know what I'm saying? I can see why, the stores that sell firearms can barely keep firearms in stock because 17-year-olds, I'm from the neighborhood, I see that, but I don't see it openly. You know what I'm saying? So to see that kid walking around is like, yo, this society is changing, and we really need to be protecting ourselves to some degree. If it's not through information, if it's not through learning more, having more firearms awareness, we just really need to open that up a little more.
No, we do. And see, what you just posed goes back to the original. We have to, and listeners, please go on our bio on Instagram and also on our website, our Linktree website, and we'll definitely make sure that we continue to post that. But you do have an opportunity to check your voter registration. We do have it posted on our website because we really want to encourage you. I had a chance to talk to a dear friend of mine a couple of days ago, and he said, man, I'm going to vote this year. And I haven't voted the last few elections. And I didn't. And that's another thing. We cannot get upset when our community says that they haven't voted. I understand where they're coming from when they say that. But we have to encourage it and say, I appreciate you. Because Snoop Dogg just got out there and said that he's voting for the first time because he wasn't aware of his status and everything that he's going through. And he has a huge platform. So once again, we have to continue to focus on that because what's happening in other states in this country may not be applicable to other places in this country, meaning the certain laws, whether it's open carry, stand your ground, protecting this and protecting that. Our communities have to be mindful and aware of the laws and regulations that are going on and who we're putting in office and what legislators are being in place. So we'll continue throughout our show to continue to hit home on that to make sure that our listeners are aware, but we got to get out there and vote, y'all.
And I think, I think I'm just beating a dead horse, but my issue is if I am a business owner and there's a demonstration, by all means, I want to protect my business. Do I need an assault rifle to protect my business during demonstrations? Yes, maybe no, maybe yes. But the community is coming out with assault rifles during demonstrations. Really, the police really need to be querying the individuals walking around with assault rifles. Like,
Right.
what is the reason? Like, what are you protecting? Why are you walking around? Because to me, it's a demonstration. So of course it's supposed to be about peace. Let's just speak to that. Like, only reason why people demonstrate is because they're anti whatever happened. Or as a result, they just want to create more peace in the community. There's no need to have 100 people with firearms that's not protecting their businesses and or not law enforcement. And I'm not saying, you know, people should not exercise their right to bear arms, but let's be responsible. Like, that's not even responsible because black people are out protesting. Okay, so let me go get my AR and let me go walk the streets to protect what, bro? You just like a gang member.
Right.
Like, you're upholding something that doesn't need to be, like, allow the officers of the law to do that. So yeah.
Exactly,
So,
Amir. I mean,
question, since we're talking about sports, did you guys hear about what happened with the Raptors president?
Yeah. You're sorry, yeah. Masai.
Yeah. Masai Ujiri, who was assaulted by the police at the finals game, like, and it was caught on camera.
So
wow.
Here's the thing. Masai Ujiri is, I believe, of Kenyan descent, I believe. Maybe Nigerian, I can't remember which one. But what I do know is that he's the only black president in the NBA, where 75% of your league is black.
Yeah.
The day that he got shoved happened to be the same day that they won the championship. So he was overjoyed as a black man that runs a team that no one thought would actually make it that far against the prohibitive favorite in the Golden State Warriors. At their stadium, this officer, we don't know, and that's the thing, my uncle who's an officer, used to be an officer, used to tell me, you don't know the mindset, they're human, and they have emotions just like we do. You don't know if that officer was upset over the fact that the Warriors have won. You don't know if he was upset. You don't know what was going on. But the fact that he shoved and pushed, and mind you, when you're in these stadiums, you have credentials that show who you are walking around the stadium. And if you see body cam footage, you see that his name and his title and everything is listed. So this officer felt the need at an NBA stadium where there's regulations and rules in place. He felt the need to use force, not once, not twice, but 3 times. But what he was trying to claim was that why would he in his position shove and push an officer? And
but Masai, if you watch the video, because I did, Masai was trying to show his credential to, like, he was walking up, pulling it out, and before he could even get it out, he was pushed. So there's no excuse. And there was no excuse.
And he tried to flip it, saying that he, pushed him, and he was claiming, some kind of physical ailments that took place after the game. It's like, dude, you are a huge officer. Like, stop it. Don't be trying to play. And the thing is,
and the president is 6'4". Like, he's no small fry. You know what I mean? Like, and he's dressed in a suit. Who's at the NBA Finals in a suit?
Right. And it just goes to show you the importance of why we need to get out there and change some of the things that are happening. And here's the thing. When the NBA does go back in their stadiums, you already know that officer will no longer work games at that stadium. I don't know what his status is, but I can assure you that the Warriors will not allow that to take place. And the thing is that the NBA, I got to give them credit, because outside of the other leagues, they get it right. They allow their players, first of all, the president of the Players Union, Chris Paul, and, LeBron James, they consulted President Obama prior to them, right after they postponed games, to get clarity on how they should navigate through this situation. And, whether it's Masari or any other person, we have to use our platforms accordingly. And the NBA has always done a wonderful job in making sure that they protect their own, and they listen and take action. They listen and they take action. That's key. They don't do the reverse like the NFL, where they take action and don't listen. And you got to remember, this week, a few days ago is the same time that Colin Kaepernick took his stance on police brutality, and no one didn't get it. They were looking at him as being anti-American, anti-Pledge of Allegiance, anti-this and that.
Yeah.
And he doesn't still have a job 4 or 5 years later. And the NBA, we got to applaud them for what they're doing, because the NFL, just now they're waking up like, oh, now we want to do this and figure this. It's like, no. And over 80% of your league is black too. And you don't have a lack of leadership.
But here's my question. Why is it such a big deal that any black person or anybody is anti-American when America is historically anti-black?
It's
never a big deal that America is anti-black. But the moment somebody says anything about this country, you're unpatriotic, yada, 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 yada. What?
So let's use that to the next area, talking about the Republican National Convention. I don't know if y'all tuned in. I sure did. In the little bits and pieces I saw, talks about what you just mentioned, Dar, and how they were bringing fear, and we got to protect our Second Amendment rights, and God first, America first. So it's like, well, if you're going to use the name of God as means of protecting this country, then you should use that same energy and realize that God also loves everyone and cares for everyone.
Right.
Don't use that as means. And then they had the nerve to use that Missouri couple that had shown assault rifles on the front lawn of their home for Black Lives Matter protesters that were in their neighborhood protesting against the situation that happened with George Floyd. And they felt the need to showcase their rifles, and they put them center stage virtually on prime time during the convention, and they were letting that base know how they felt and what is going to happen if you don't put Donald Trump in office. And this is a very interesting time right now in America. We have to educate ourselves on what they are really doing in this platform, because they're painting a picture of America that is too reminiscent of what we fought for 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And we lost way too many to allow this man and his administration to stay in office, because they're creating a problem. It's created a problem for a lot of young men of color, a lot of women of color. So when people are saying Black Lives Matter, we're saying that our life matters as soon as we walk out that door. We don't know if we're going to come back home.
Exactly.
It was disgusting.
Yeah, but with the Second Amendment, I just feel like people are using it for their own benefit in the regard of, in order to threaten the world, threaten the United States. So, like, for example, the purpose of the Second Amendment, in my view, is for self-defense, right? So, yeah, I'm gonna bear a firearm for and also to defend the United States, right? Okay, so that to me is what the Second Amendment is about: self-defense and or defend the United States. So when it comes to unrest in our community, a certain group of people want to grab up firearms as if the threat is the African American, or the threat are the protesters. And for me, I don't like to see it as us against them or them against us at all. And I mean that in an ethnic sense. I mean that in a political sense. But sometimes it always becomes that.
Yeah.
Us and them against us. And and I guess I just want to say this: like, where is the peace at? Like, who is fighting for peace? Who is fighting? And also, I'm keeping in mind of segregation. I'm keeping in mind of some of the issues because of integration, right? But at the end of the day, no matter what, we have to change the laws And we have to make the laws for everyone, not just certain groups. I guess that's what I'm just trying to say today.
Yeah. And if the Republicans want to build their entire campaign, their political campaign, on being so patriotic and how America is one nation under God, indivisible, lies on top of lies on top of lies, and you want to take photo ops and hold a Bible, open up that Bible and see what the scriptures are saying. See where it talks about love, forgiveness, the fruits of the Spirit, patience, compassion, joy. Like, how do you dismiss all of that and make it right for your political stance? Like, I'm so confused by it.
Agenda.
Well, yeah, and see, here's the thing, though, Shar. That's the same tactic they used when they came to this country 400 or 500 years ago. So nothing's new under the sun. So those same principles that passed down generation to generation and generation, whether it was to our Native American brothers and sisters, whether it was done to Africans that were brought to this country, whether it was done to those that were from our Chinese community who built the railroad, they've been using that tactic of religion as a power stance to control and to conquer and divide. And that is the way that they're doing it, whether it's through religion, whether it's through a political stance. And what I have an issue with is where our own community, you can go on these people's Instagram pages and there's people that share the same skin hue that I have, and they feel to need to align themselves with these people. That's, in my opinion, those are the most dangerous people in our country.
Yeah.
Side or any other disenfranchised group that sides with what is going on in this country. So, for me, just in my personal workspace, I encountered something that was just interesting where they kind of just watered down the whole conversation. It was brought up by a colleague of mine who's of color, and he was just like, hey, are we going to bring up what took place over the weekend? And they decided not to open up. And this is a town hall with the entire college community. Hundreds of people were in there, faculty and staff. They didn't even want to bring it up. And when it was brought up and it wasn't a complex question, they deferred to one another, from president to provost and either other leadership, and they were silent. They were caught off guard, right? And it's like, you're leadership, right? And you couldn't even speak up on what's going on. But then they decided to pivot the conversation and talk about someone who baked some goods in their home because they had some kind of competition during the COVID, during the pandemic, on who can cook and who had, and they started talking about her baked goods and her bread that she made. And they were laughing. And I'm like, this is an issue. And it was brought to the attention of leadership. And we had a very good conversation yesterday. And I had to bring up that yesterday, on the 28th of August, this is a day that we're not going to forget, by the way, because it happened to be the anniversary of Dr. King's speech, the anniversary of when President Obama accepted a nomination for the Democratic seat, and we lost Chadwick Boseman, Jackie Robinson Day for the Dodgers, and then also the 65th anniversary of Emmett Till. Okay? All that took place yesterday on the 28th of August. So we have to take in mind why it's important of the times we're living in, because we're watching. These phones have power in them when we use them right, because we can find out, we can see things, we can look up things, and we can make change. So I have to keep hitting it home. Please get out there and vote this year. We cannot allow another 4 years of this stuff.
Right. And educate yourselves. You know what I mean? Like, I attempted to watch the RNC, the Republican National Convention, and I just couldn't do it. Like, I tried, and I could not listen to majority of the speeches. Trump was super robotic, super vague in his promises. Watching this convention happen in the District of Columbia at the White House with all of these maskless people in the middle of a global pandemic, right. Just the irresponsibility of it all. Like, right. It made me cringe. So I did attempt to watch it. I tried to watch the whole thing. I could not, because it was too cringy. It was way too cringy. And the whole time I'm just like, this is a joke. I'm living in a Twilight Zone. Like, this cannot be my life. This cannot be my life.
It's like, where's Jordan Peele? Jordan Peele, is this a script that, like, no, and you know what? To your point, there were some weird situations that happened. His family, in my opinion, is very interesting. I think the highlight of it, well, there's two things. His son, Donald Trump Jr., and his wife, or his girlfriend, rather, I don't know how you say her name, Kimberly Foley, whatever. She used to be an ex-Fox News anchor, used to be married to the current governor of California, Governor Newsom. She had this very awkward speech where I personally thought that she was on drugs. It was just very awkward. She was loud, and these are virtual conventions, but there is, and you guys can look up what the rule or the law is. It was unconventional because no president has ever accepted the nomination for his party at the White House, nor have they ever held any type of convention at the White House. And I think
no political party has. Yeah. No political party, like your local governments, your governors, your mayors, they never make an acceptance in the council chambers or at, you just don't do it on public national property. It's crazy. On federal property, I'm sorry.
Right. Well, let me break this idea down real quick.
Well, and real quick, Tori, before you say what you have to say. Yeah. It's called the Hatch Act of 1939.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's an act to prevent political activities, and that's basically what that is, and that's what they were trying to say what was going on. But go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, speaking to the Hatch Act, before I go break down my point, the Hatch Act is also presented to civil service workers, federal government workers, state, city employees. So that means, we're limited, to our actions involving politics, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But my point was that the United States is a corporation, right? It's a business, you know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, we talk about in God we trust, and we tote Bibles around town. And there's a scripture in Luke 12:48 that I've always held myself accountable for, even when I fall short, because I'm human, right? But to whom much is given, much is required. And when I read that, and when I'm reminded of that, I think of the responsibility that we have and that we should be cognizant of long term, because we're blessed individuals. We're put in positions sometimes that we're really not qualified for, and we're just not necessarily faking it till we make it, but we're thriving as best as possible. So I just really want to charge our listeners to be in the mindset of just being responsible as much as we can, and like when you go into leadership, to whom much is given, much is required. A lot of people don't fall within, they fall, I guess, as a result of a lot of opposition, right? There's a lot of people that oppose our opinions. They oppose the laws that we create. They oppose everyone is not always on our side. But how can we create the laws that are for everyone, right? And I think moving forward, we just have to be about everyone, not just us. Like, even though we were just going through it, Black Lives Matter, you know what I'm saying? And it matters. Every lives matter, but like when people overlook Black lives, then it's time for Black lives to stand up, because to whom much is given, much is required. Like, you know what I mean? So figure it out.
Shedding light on that.
Yeah, it just, I guess the thing that bothers me, and it goes back to our very first episode, is it's hard to be alive in 2020 and still feel like we're being treated as 3/5 of a human. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to feel like nothing has changed. And you all know me personally. You know that I'm like mostly positive. I always see things, as the cup is always half full instead of half empty. Like, I always lead with positivity. But I will say that it is very draining to be Black and to have endured everything that our people have endured for the last 4 or 5 centuries. It's like, how much more? How much more could we possibly endure as a people?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's tough.
It ain't over. It ain't over.
It's not, and that's the hard part. But I think this is where we're charged, like you said, Antonio Crow, to whom much is given, much is required. We have to keep fighting the good fight. We don't have the luxury to retreat. We can rest, but we can't stop. You know what I mean? And we got to stop doing it for the gram. I feel like a lot of our young Black people, a lot of millennials are doing it for the gram. Forget the gram. Forget social media. Do it for what's right. Do it from the matter of your heart. Do it for our people. Do it for our generation. Do it for our ancestors. Stop doing it for photo ops. And do it for change. Real change. Lasting change. And I'm going to get off my soapbox because I'm getting emotionally charged.
I agree.
No. You have well, yes. And to your point, we as Black people are any disenfranchised group in this country, not just Black people.
Right.
We're resilient. And we know how to fight the good fight, whether it's through our ancestors and on. And I truly believe that everything that has transpired, whether it was yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we're going to make sure that we do everything in our power to exercise our right. And we're going to have the backing of a lot of people that are from our communities that come from certain positions that are going to make sure that that is hit home.
Well, did you see what Ice Cube had to say regarding the DNC?
Yeah, when he was at, yeah.
And for me, like I get where he's coming from, but I really think that on top of that, as an African American, Cube himself, Mr. F the Police, his desire to vote should be he has a greater responsibility. Like he knows our ancestors died for the right to vote. So why is it about, and I get it, like even when you're in elementary school and you're voting for the president's buying ice cream for all the people so they can vote for him. I get it. But we're adults. Like, at the end of the day, this is not about ice cream. You know what I'm saying? This is about, I guess, what he said, like, what's in it for us. But at the same time, Martin Luther King changed laws with discrimination. So what are you doing? Why are we sitting back waiting on somebody to tell us what's in it? Like, it's like, it goes back and forth, and I'm not accusing or saying anything derogatory towards Ice Cube, but I feel like he's the perfect person to push change.
Yeah, it's the people with his mindset. Yeah, it's not the Ice Cube. It's the people with the mindsets of the Ice Cube. You know what I mean? Like you said, a common person like Martin Luther King was able to evoke change. So the charge is on us. Like, we got to stop looking to our political leaders. We can hold them accountable, but it's when we say your vote is your voice, your vote is your voice because you have the right to impact and influence change in your community. You can become the change agents of your community. Stop waiting for a politician to do it and make them do it. Hold them accountable to do it. You know what I mean? And if you're wondering what the next political party is going to do, look at what Trump has already done. That should get you out to the polls enough to say, I can't do this for 4 more years. And come up with a plan to make sure that your vote counts come November. Like, we don't have the luxury to not vote. We can deal with Biden and Harris once they get in the office. But up until then, we have to make sure that we vote and vote smartly. Like,
at the end of the day, you have to vote. You have to vote for who you feel you want to run a country. But at the end of the day, it's funny to me because they say 45, our current president, is not even a Republican. So that just goes to show you that I don't know if it's a show or what, but at the end of the day, the United States is a business. That's
right. Well,
he's made a mockery of this country. He's made a mockery of this country. He's made a mockery of politics. He's made a mockery against everything that the United States stands for. He's made a mockery of our government,
as a businessman,
like literally.
As a businessman, he has a capitalist approach, and that's why he's successful. So, arguably, some can say he made a mockery, but then that's why they have Trump supporters, because they're 100% aligned with how he does business. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's both sides to that. But at the end of the day, I'm worried about the kids that are being born today, right? That's what we were. But we're about the kids that are graduating high school right now, the kids that just graduated college, that's trying to find their way through society, like the people that are poor. You know what I'm saying? We worry about the low wage earners, like the people that are out of work because of COVID. Like, this is like, I don't know. I could go on and on, but like, the presidency, that's their level of life, you know what I'm saying? But we have our state level, our city level. It's just too many layers to this. Too many layers.
Listen, this man has almost 200,000 lives on his hands of deaths due to COVID. So I'm just gonna say that and tell y'all to vote smartly come November.
Yeah, exercise your vote.
He's running this country to the ground.
Oh, well, no doubt. And, you know, to your point, what you mentioned earlier, Antonio, about Ice Cube, we can't allow people that are in the Black community that have platforms like that to speak down on what is the big issue. We have to encourage each other to get out there and make change and use your platform accordingly. We can't continue to utilize certain rhetoric that turns off what we've been fighting for so many years. We have to get out there and exercise our right to vote, regardless of who's running. We just want this person to get out. That's all we want. That's all we want. I don't care. A robot can be in there. You know, it can be
the Bayang.
Right. Well, you know, yeah, light up the moon, the bang. It can be anybody. You know, I don't care.
Forrest Whitaker's lazy eye.
Right.
You know, I want to play. I don't like to use the word devil's advocate, but they said the same thing about President Obama. They said the same thing about Bush. They said the same thing about Clinton. Like,
yeah, but this is bad.
Right. At the end of the day, we have to become presidents of our own organizations, and we need to run our own organizations, and we need to look at politics as like, yeah, of course, this is how we govern the United States. But at the end of the day, yeah, we have to vote because that's part of the process. But like you said, Amir, I wanted to go right back to that. What the NBA has done is the exact opposite of what Ice Cube did. What LeBron James did as a result of what happened last week by taking a stance. Like, I feel like as an athlete, they have a voice. And historically, especially in the 80s with Jordan and Magic Johnson and the topic of hero, like Jordan is a hero, and then Charles Barkley was like, I'm not the hero. But at the end of the day, what LeBron James has shown us is that he has accepted a level of responsibility for his community and his family, because he has a big family. So anything that happens in our community could typically happen to all of us on Convo Lounge, all of us in the world, right?
Thank you.
You know
Well, yeah, and here's the thing about the players you just mentioned. Magic, I love Magic Johnson, greatest NBA player of all time, greatest point guard of all time, but he has hit to play on his name, Magic. He's been a magical Negro, and he's always played that role of smiling and doing whatever it said.
It's magic.
Had him like speak out on what's going on. Michael Jordan was quoted in the 90s saying Republicans buy shoes too. And he never really stood for anything. So yes, LeBron, Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, Isaiah Thomas, who grew up in the south side of Chicago, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. To go back to your point, Kareem aligned himself, a young Kareem, UCLA Kareem, aligned himself with Muhammad Ali and other athletes like Jim Brown and Bill Russell, the great Bill Russell from the Boston Celtics. They aligned themselves with Muhammad Ali when he took his case against the Vietnam War in the early 60s. That's where Kareem has built that bridge. So NBA players are aligning themselves with the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, like LeBron, and they consulted with our president, Barack Obama, our president, Barack Obama, and align themselves to get more clarity on how they should acknowledge what's going on. So yes, expect today's NBA games to have the highest ratings. And this president, number 45, was asked about what's going on. He says, I don't like the fact that it's gone political and their ratings are low. For him, it's always about ratings. It's always about television. And another issue is that when he is saying that it's gone political, you have no right with your stance to speak on what is and what's not. It's not political, it's what is right. They are using their platform as freedom of speech. That is a right in this country to speak on what they're speaking on. When you are running for president, and prior to you running for president, you went on your soapbox and had the nerve to have a movement called the birther movement to discredit our President Obama for being born in this country. So don't say that you don't like the fact, forget what you think. And then his son-in-law also took issue of the NBA players. Once again, these are 75% of the league is black. Jared Kushner had an issue with what LeBron James was doing. He took his stance down and now wants to talk with LeBron and his team on how they can have a better relationship. Because the thing is that when you make money, it shouldn't stop you from doing what is right.
Right.
That's what God has put us on this earth to do. That your status should never change helping out another person or helping the causes that hurt people. If these brothers don't have the platform of basketball, then they're part of a stereotype that you point fingers at and say your people are. No, we're not. We're more than this. And we've been more than this. We were more than this when we were brought to this country, unfortunately, in chains. We've been kings and queens. So don't discredit what these brothers and sisters are doing, whether it's Beyonce and Jay-Z, whether it's LeBron, whether it's Obama in his civil state that he's in right now, him and his wife, Michelle. We have to continue to do what's right. And I applaud anyone that's using their platform, whether it's even Puff Daddy or Charlemagne or anyone else. But Ice Cube, you have to do better, bro. We can't have you out there speaking like that because it goes against what we've been fighting for. So
yeah, because at the end of the day, like, we live in a society where celebrity status does not give you immunity anymore. To a racist white person, black is black. So your celebrity status does not matter. You know what I mean? And I would be curious, and I am curious to wonder what Magic Johnson thinks today. Now that he has children who identify in the bucket of LGBTQIA. You know, now do you feel like you can use your platform and your voice to make sure that all lives are you know, treated equally and have equal rights? It just, in today's society, I think the reason, and I can't speak for LeBron, but if I were to, when you walk out of your house to a racist person, it does not, your status doesn't matter. Nobody is looking at you saying like, oh, you're LeBron, I'm not going to shoot you. Or, you know, his kids, he has sons. Nobody knows who his kids are. So at the end of the day, hate is hate. And they're going to inflict it upon whomever, no matter how much money you make, no matter how successful you are, no matter what your celebrity status is, it does not matter.
It doesn't matter. And that's the thing. Magic, you know, I follow him on social media. I haven't really seen anything on a high magnitude. If it is, it's going to come from more of a corporate stance. It's not going to come from it's not going to come from a place coming from the heart. It's where it's, you know, I don't know if you're speaking your true words. And I know with LeBron, when all this took place, he let it out. Like, he said, you know, fuck this. Like, enough is enough. He straight out put that on Twitter. And this is number one player in the league. This ain't the bottom player. This is the top player of the league saying, you know what? I'm up here at this level. I am not about to allow this to go down. And you can say whatever you want to say about the brother, but he's using it in the right way. And a lot of athletes, so I don't want to discredit other athletes in other leagues, is just that they have the corporate sponsor, they have the right, because the NBA is a platform, it's a job, it's a corporation, it is a business, and just so happens that they have the backing coming from a commissioner, coming from other individuals to say, hey, we're giving you guys a platform to make a sense, whether it's on a shirt, whether it's on your shoe, and it's not and it's funny, they want to use code words like it's political. It's not political, it's what's right. This is what's been going on. It's never been political. Political
Right.
is that these rules were in place and this is what's going on. No, you have created something in this country and we're using our voice to say enough is enough. It's not political, it's what.
Even Naomi Osaka, the tennis player,
Yes.
and she decided not to play and then she returned. But I mean, like you said, it's about doing what's right. And it's not what's right for them. It's not what's right for us. It's what's right. Right is right. Wrong is wrong. Right?
It's so simple. It's so black and white.
It is. And here's the thing. Like, I get it. I think when some of these athletes and players and leagues decided to take it, they needed a break just like how we needed a break. Because we work just like they work. It's a job. Even though they're in a different tax bracket, it's still a job. They still have to clock in and clock out, whether it's dribbling the ball, throwing the ball, hitting the ball, they still have to work. They needed a break just like how we needed a break, okay? And that was their time to say, hey, I'm using my platform to take a break. Let me gather myself. Let me talk to my corporate sponsors and see how they can contribute to what's going on, because they do have nonprofits and organizations that they work with, and they contributed, whether it's with their Nike, whether it's with other corporations that they're aligned with, and they're contributing to what can be done to fix this issue. But they took time to navigate through this and take time to heal and just reconfigure and say, okay, I'm good now. This is what I'm about to hit you with, whether it's dressed in all black, whether it's a statement in their hair, whether it's a statement on their clothes that they wear. Expect to see statements. That's going to be the theme until election, is statements being used by these athletes. So whether it's Naomi Osaka, whether it's LeBron, Chris Paul, any other player in any other sports league, they're going to utilize statements to make sure that it's driven home to get things done. But, this is definitely interesting times that we're in. And like my boy told me the other day, he said, we still got 4 months to go in this year. We still got 4 months to go, less than 4 months to go. And I just encourage everyone to take time to build, take time to heal, take time to relax, enjoy what you can, call, spend time with your loved ones in any way you can, whether it's virtually or not, because we're still in a pandemic. But take time to heal and take time to relax, read good books, take time to laugh, take time to cry, do whatever that you can do. But don't worry. Laugh and live life to the fullest. Love with all your heart, and everything will be all right. That's just what I wanted to let our listeners know.
Yeah, and I heard Candace Owens is having a baby, right?
Congratulations, because life is life. And that's what I here's the thing. When I say Black Lives Matter, it means every Black life matters, right? Like, I think that we live in a cancel society, and no, I don't agree with Candace Owens' views. I don't agree with the views of Isaiah Washington or Kanye West. However, at the end of the day, they're still my people in a sense. They're not my tribe, they're not my village, but they are a part of my race and my culture. So I don't want to use this platform to bash another Black woman at all. Like, my whole gospel, my whole voice is unity, but I don't agree with her views.
On another note, hey, today is August 29th, the great Michael Jackson's birthday. He'll be 62 today. I got to bump Michael Jackson. I'm bumping Michael Jackson all day today. All day. The Prince.
I'm Team Prince.
Prince is...
Well, R.I.P. Michael. R.I.P. Michael.
Well, Prince and I share the same birthday, June 7th. We're Gemini. So Prince, you know, I got to shout it out there. Yeah, I am a Gemini. Oh, it's all good. I take pride in
We
it.
know.
And
We know.
but Michael Jackson is my guy all day. So I'm gonna be bumping Michael Jackson all day today. Shout out to Mike. 62 would have been 62.
Yeah. There was a post that I saw on Instagram, and I was trying to pull
Can
it
you
up, but I
imagine
can't.
a 62-year-old?
Oh man, he would have been. You know, hey, let me ask you this: if Mike was alive, would he have done a versus? You think he would have did a versus?
Yeah, I think if Mike and Prince were alive, they would have done a versus. Well, Prince probably. I don't know. Prince.
No,
Prince wouldn't have. Prince is very. He was very.
He's very private.
Yeah. Mike would have done it just for the sheer fact that it's like, yeah, you know, I can partner up with so and so. You know what would have been dope if Mike would have did one with his sister.
Oh, that would have been super dope. Yeah, that would have been. Yeah, that would have been dope if he would have done one against Janet and done one against the Jackson 5. That would have been cute.
Yeah. Prince has a video. It's on video on YouTube, and I guess Michael Jackson was like, "Yeah, I want to work with Prince," and Prince like rolled his eyes.
I got another one. Go on YouTube. Look up, my man James Brown had a concert. And this is when James Brown was still holding it down. And this was like a young Mike and a young Prince. This is like Purple Rain Prince, Michael Jackson Thriller Mike. And they were behind the scenes at a James Brown concert. James Brown he said, Michael. And then Michael gets on stage and starts crooning to It's a Man's World. So then Michael gets off stage. And then Prince comes up and he's on the shoulder of his security guard. Gets on stage and starts playing the guitar and starts rocking out to it and then started dancing. Look up the YouTube video. It is classic. And then while you're at it, look up the YouTube video when James Brown was on CNN back in the day. Thank you later.
Oh, yeah. So, friend, you got to drop those in the show notes. So, for our YouTube, we'll have the link in our show notes so that you guys can easily find it.
No doubt. Classic stuff. Anything else?
Let's sound off. Like, what's on y'all's heart? Anything else? Like, y'all good?
I'm good. Anytime we can use our platform and speak to the people, you know, it always is good for me. You know, being around with you guys. And I can't wait for my sister Shar to be back in Cali.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm on right now is Jacob Blake is another hit. I know, I'm just saying it, just a hit to my core, hit to my side. You know, Chadwick passing away, but still keeping focused that, you know, we still have to move forward. We still got to continue the fight, and we have to vote. No matter where you stand, you know, it's all respect to all sides, but at the end of the day, we all have to benefit, and that's really where I'm at. And it's the weekend where we're at. You know, I'm really happy. You know, the momentum that we're building with the Convo Lounge, and that's just where I'm at, y'all.
Yeah. I'm praying for myself. I'm praying for my mental wellness right now. I'm praying for Chadwick's family. I'm praying for Breonna Taylor's family still. I'm praying for Jacob Blake's family. I'm praying for us at the Convo Lounge, our listeners. I'm praying for everybody who's Black right now, because it is a very heavy and trying time to be Black in America. So my prayers and my thoughts, I'm sending love and light to y'all, and I'm, you know, receiving your love and light back, because I'm feeling weary in my spirit. So I love you guys.
And for me, I'll go ahead and say before we close out, much love. It's been a very tough week for our community. I want to pray for everyone who's going through healing and traumatized by the things that have been going on in this country since this whole pandemic started. I want you guys to take time to enjoy this weekend, enjoy this week. And when you do listen to this episode, hopefully it brings you some closure, and just love yourself, love those around you. And please get out there and make sure you check your registration status to vote. We're going to definitely make sure that in our show notes that we do advertise all of the links and things that we shouted out. We'll use it as a theme throughout the rest of this season as we continue to build more content and build more shows. And we just want to give a shout out to also some of our partners that we have as well with Life Tagger. We want to shout them out. And then we're looking forward to what's ahead. And we love you guys. And we'll definitely keep you in prayer. And just enjoy this time right now. And love everybody.
Yes. Before we go, where can everybody find us? You guys can find me on Instagram at shar.rochelle, as well as Char's Cookie Jar. You can find the Convo Lounge on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Life Tagger app. Am I missing anything?
That's all of
We're
them.
everywhere.
Right. Well, in our bio on Instagram, when you look us up, you can just click on the link tree and it will give you all the things you need. And for me, the prosperous one, the _ prosperous _1.
I'm Antonio Crow, AntonioCrow.com, Antonio Crow Clothing, the Convo Lounge.
Yeah. Yes. A lot of ways to catch us. Well, that's it. Thank you once again for joining us on this episode. Y'all be well. Take care. Peace.
Peace.